Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. If this is your first time here, welcome. If it's not your first time here, thanks for coming back. So today, I really need to go through and declutter my makeup. It's getting like kind of ridiculous, out of hand. I have so much stuff, and this isn't my job or anything. And you know, if you watch these declutters from other people, they say, oh, this is my job. This is why I have so much makeup. There is no excuse for how much makeup I have. Just have too much stuff for one person to ever use. I only have one face. Some stuff is super old and needs to be like thrown out. It's old, expired. And some stuff I can pass on to other people. My boyfriend has 4 sisters and a teenage niece, so they can probably get something that they like out of this collection. I'm never going to be able to get through everything before it expires. So that's my plan today. So I really do keep most of my makeup on the shelves that are usually in the background of my videos, the bottom 2 shelves. And I have like a plastic shelving system that is really a piece of crap, and I need to get something else because it falls apart. But anyway, that's a different day. But all the stuff that I use like on a daily basis, I leave on my desk or in my desk drawer. And my desk drawer, I actually swap out seasonally. So every time a new season starts, I try to switch out like my eyeshadow palettes and my complexion products because my skin tone changes with the seasons. So that's my other plan today, is to take out my spring stuff from my desk drawer and redo it and put summer stuff in there. So that's another part of what has to happen today. Now you're probably going to see this in several parts because this is going to be like a 3-hour video if I did the whole thing in one video. So the major thing to tackle, and the first thing you're going to see, is the eyeshadow palettes. I just counted. I have 66 eyeshadow palettes. That is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that's what we're going to start with. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I upload videos weekly, beauty and fashion videos. And if you find these kinds of videos satisfying like I do and motivating for you to clean, give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out a lot. So I'm going to start off with these because I'm not going to get rid of any of these. So sorry, that's a little unsatisfying to start with. But I have 6 palettes from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Yeah. So I'll just show you guys quickly these ones. I'm not going to get rid of them because they're my favorites. So this is the Sultry Palette. I just got this one. They brought it back for holiday. It was discontinued and I was so mad I didn't get it, and then they brought it back and I got it. So I'm going to keep this. It's just like beautiful, cool tones. And Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes are extremely pigmented. They're not really like beginner friendly, but I just love them. I think they're beautiful. This is the very first eyeshadow palette that I bought, you know, that I still have. This is the oldest one in my collection, the Modern Renaissance. So as you can see by how dirty this is, it's super old, but it's just got like really pretty warm tones, pinks, purples. One of my favorite classic palettes. So I'm going to keep that. The Soft Glam is also like a newer one to my collection. Just really pretty. Love that. Okay, this is the Carly Bible palette. So Carly Bible is a makeup YouTuber. If you don't know who she is, I'm sure you do. She's got millions of followers. But she collabed with Anastasia, and people kind of put this palette down and say that it's not very good, but I actually love it. I don't know why people don't like it, but I really love a lot of like the lighter transition type of shades. They have a deeper neutral brown, there's a red, there's an orange, and then these metallics and shimmers are just absolutely so gorgeously beautiful, and it has a really nice inner corner highlight. I feel like it's a really nice palette for maybe not like super nighttime smoky looks, but just day looks. I think is wonderful, and I love the packaging with like the bubbles on it. Oh, so cute. This one I keep more for nostalgia. This is the Alyssa Edwards palette. So Alyssa Edwards is my favorite drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race of all time. And she created this palette. It's super colorful. Like, I don't really reach into colors like this very often, but I do dance. I teach ballroom dancing. So I do occasionally use this for like competition looks and stuff. I really just love her, and I just mostly bought it to support Alyssa. So yeah, I will be keeping this one. And then this is the Aina palette, and this is, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's my favorite palette that I own. period. The colors are so unique, so rich, so pigmented, and just different than any of the other shades that I have in any of my other palettes that I own. They all just blend absolutely beautifully, just insane beautifulness. Love this one. I'm definitely not ever going to get rid of this. And it was limited edition, so if I run out of it, I'm gonna be very sad. Okay, so the next eyeshadow formula that I actually really love is the Dominique Cosmetics formula. So I have 4 of her palettes. I have the Latte palette, the original Latte palette. I just got this, so I'm not gonna get rid of this one. I've just really only started using it. It was on sale at Sephora, so I bought it. Just got like a really nice neutral color scheme with a few pops of color. So I'm excited to keep using this. This palette I got during the holiday last year. So this is the Rustic Glam palette. I've only used it a couple of times, and to be honest, it wasn't very impressive to me. I don't feel like it competes with the other palettes that she has, but I am gonna give this one more shot. And I actually think I am gonna put this in my summer drawer because it is a very like summery palette with the blues and the pinks but also some neutrals. So I think I am gonna put this one last time. And if at the end of the summer I don't really like it, then I will declutter it. So I'm gonna keep it for now. This is another one of her palettes, the Celestial Storm palette. This is a really pretty palette. I feel like some of the shadows in here aren't the greatest. Like this one's a bit scratchy on the eyes. It kind of reads less than exciting. It's okay, is basically what I'm trying to say. So I will keep this for now, but again, I think I'm gonna put this in my summer drawer because again, it's got the jewel tones, it's summery, it's got oranges. So I will keep this in mind for the end of the summer and decide what to do with it. And then I would say this is probably another one of my absolute favorite palettes that I own, period. This is the Berries and Cream palette. Of the ones I've tried, this is her best palette. Just the tones are beautiful. It has more mattes than shimmers, which I prefer. It has all these mattes and just a few shimmers. And actually this is a matte with shimmers, so really there's only 3 shimmers. The pigmentation's beautiful, it's blendable, it's wonderful, I love it. I'm not getting rid of it. So I'm keeping that. Okay, so then I only have 2 palettes from Morphe. So this one is just like a brown neutral palette, totally my tones, but I don't ever reach for this one, ever. And I've had it for several years. I think I'm just gonna pass this on to someone because I think it's a pretty good palette for someone that doesn't have a lot of makeup, and there's a lot of browns, there's a black, there's some shimmers. Like I feel like this is a really good everyday / night palette. Someone else is going to get a lot of use out of. Just for me, I don't ever reach for it. What is this one called? The Copper Spice 25A. So I am gonna pass this one on and see if it can get a better home than mine, because I've got a million browns and everyday neutrals. I don't need this one. And then I have the original Jaclyn Hill palette. I've had this one ever since it first launched. I bought it on the first launch day. It was like the most dramatic makeup experience of my life. It was the first time like I was really starting to get into makeup, and I was on a shuttle on the way to the airport, and I made my boyfriend at the time wait in line like early in the morning to buy this. And I was like frantically calling him from the shuttle. It was pretty dramatic, so I'm not gonna get rid of this one. I actually use this one a lot. I think it's really good for traveling. It's got every color that you would possibly want in the world, and the formula is really nice, so I'm definitely gonna keep this one. Oh, my legs. Okay, then I'm gonna go to e.l.f. So e.l.f. has a really good drugstore formula, probably one of the best drugstore formulas that I've come across. So I have several of these bite-sized palettes. You know what? I think these are a little overhyped. I think people talk about these like they're the best eyeshadow palettes in the world. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think they're pretty good. I think that they're nice. I like some more than others, so I am gonna get rid of a couple of these. So this one is the Rosewater Quad. I didn't really like this one. I don't feel like the quality was as good as the other ones, so it's more of like a mauve color story, which I typically do like, but I just thought the quality wasn't like the best, especially of the mattes. Like this one is a little chalky. It's not really pigmented, can barely see it. and I've got a light skin tone, so I'm gonna get rid of Rosewater. And I have two of the Mint Melt collection quads, and I did do a video on my channel when this first came out reviewing like a lot of the products in the collection, so I will link that down below if you want to see it. But in the video, this quad, the all green quad, I tried to use this matte mint green as a transition shade, and it literally didn't show up on me. See? Like there's nothing there. And I am pretty light, so I don't see why that wouldn't show up on me. So if you're any deeper than me, I definitely would not buy this quad because this shade altogether doesn't even show up. So I am going to get rid of this one. I don't think I really need it. Because I have this one, I prefer this because it's got 3 everyday like neutral type of shades that I will use. And then if I want a pop of mint green, I only just need 1. I don't need 5 different mint green shades. I just don't see myself using them. So I do like to use this quad as like an neutral eye look, like this in the crease, this on the outer corner, this on my lid. And then I like to pop this mint green in my inner corner just for a pop of color. I think it's really, really cute type of look. And this mint green is really, really pretty. Like that's super bright and super pigmented and just the mint green I'm looking for. So I will keep this one. This one is in the shades Chocolate Mint, and I will get rid of this one, Mint to Be. And then I have these two that are they look pretty similar, to be honest. This one is in Cream and Sugar. This is more of like a neutrally type of quad. I'm gonna get rid of this one. I don't really use it. It's okay. I mean, again, I've got a million palettes with these colors like in my collection. So somebody else can use this and enjoy it. I don't need it. I am gonna keep this one though. This is Pumpkin Pie. I do like this one. I love warm tones. Probably warm tones and purples are my favorite types of shades to wear, and these ones are really pretty. I feel I can get a complete look out of this. I really, really like this one, the Pumpkin Pie one, so I will keep this one. And then also from e.l.f. I have the Retro Paradise palette. I really like this one a lot. This is just like a super summery type of color scheme to me, which this one is definitely gonna go into my summer drawer. It's got all the neutrals and things I would need for an everyday look, but you can also add a pop of color. Like you can add, like I said, with the mint green in your inner corner. I've seen a lot of looks using this lime green in the corner. I love this Paraiso shade. Oh my gosh, so pretty. It's like a duochrome gold. All over the lid would be really pretty. I just love this palette. I think it's awesome. I think it is limited edition. I don't think they make it anymore, but I really, really enjoy this. So I am gonna keep this. I'm gonna put this in my summer drawer as well. And then my last e.l.f. palette is the e.l.f. and Chipotle palette. So I obviously got this pretty recently because it only came out maybe, I don't know, a few months ago. I absolutely love this palette. I think it's amazing. I love the shades. Everything in here is just like not a drugstore quality. It's like a high-end palette. Like if I didn't know this was e.l.f., I would think it was a high-end palette because the quality is just unbelievable. And I love the color scheme. I love wearing greens, the browns, the neutrals. This is a super cool duochrome color, like purple to green. Really unique shade that I really like to wear like all over the lid. I just think it's a beautiful palette, so I'm definitely gonna keep this one. Okay, next I have this Too Faced Gingerbread Extra Spicy palette. I did get this from one of my boyfriend's sisters for Christmas, not last year, the year before. I really like this palette a lot. It's got, again, colors that I really like to use. Warm tones, browns, some oranges, a pop of blue, everything you want for a complete look. I think quality is really good. And it smells good. It smells like gingerbread, which is nice. So I am gonna keep this one. I really, really like it a lot. Okay, and then this is the Pretty Vulgar Nightingale eyeshadow palette. So this I got in a BoxyCharm. I used to get BoxyCharm for a long time, but I haven't had it in a couple of years. So I did get this in a BoxyCharm, and I used to use this a lot for a lot of my looks for competition, just because there was these really deep, cool tone colors that show up from far away. I like it. I think it's a nice palette. I haven't used it in a really long time, and I think I kept it around because it was my only cool tone palette, but I did get a different cool tone palette that you will see later on. So I don't think I need this one anymore. So I am going to get rid of this one. Okay, and then next I have the Essence Salute Paris eyeshadow palette. So this is just some basic cool tone shadows, all mattes apart from 3 shimmers down here. This is okay. I did do a full face of Essence video a while ago. I'll put that also in the description box if you're interested in watching that. And it was okay for a drugstore palette. It's pretty good. I don't use it and I don't reach for it, so I actually think I'm going to declutter this one and pass it on to someone else that will get more use out of it. But these Essence palettes are okay. I had a preconceived notion in my mind that they were going to be terrible, and they exceeded my expectations, but I just don't use it, so I'm going to get rid of it. And then this one is from the brand Moira. This is a dash of gold. One of my boyfriend's other sisters gave this to me for Christmas this year. And I actually have been using this one a lot lately. I'm really enjoying it. I had never heard of this brand before I was gifted this palette. But again, these are my tones: browns, warm tones, a red, some golds, a deep dark brown, a transition shade. I mean, really an inner corner highlight. So I've been using this one. I'm reaching for it a lot. So I am going to keep this one. And I think I'm actually going to put this in my summer drawer just because it's got some basic browns that I might need to pull from. Okay, and then I've got my stack of Urban Decay palettes. So let's go through these. So this is the Urban Decay Naked Honey. I love this one. And actually I need to put this in my drawer because I haven't reached for it in a long time, but it is definitely one that I want to keep. I just think these tones are, again, very me, the browns, the mustardy tones I love, and it's just a unique kind of color story. I love this gold. I just love wearing gold. Again, I don't really wear it a whole lot, but the gold tones are so pretty. The mattes are really blendable and wonderful. I like the brush that they put in here too. I think it's a useful brush. So I am going to keep this one and I'm going to put it in my drawer. And then I have the Naked Reloaded palette. If you watched my eyeshadow video where I talked about all my eyeshadow palettes in different categories, I talked about this. I said it was, I think, the most overrated palette that I have. I thought it was going to like change my life, the way people talk about it, and I don't really like it. A lot of these shimmers are super crumbly, just not very pigmented. Like this one's super crumbly. I don't know, they're just not what I like. If I have a shimmer or metallic, like I want it to be creamy, that just glides right on my eye. I don't like these chunkier type of metallics. And there's very few mattes in the palette, which I don't prefer. I much prefer like more mattes. So I am actually gonna pass this on to someone else. I think a lot of these like more expensive palettes, I tend to wanna hold on to just because they were expensive and I spent money on them. But if I'm not using them, what's the point? Like, it doesn't matter. I should just give them to somebody who's going to use them. So I'm going to pass that on. But on the flip side of things, this is the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. I absolutely love this palette. I think this is just, again, I like these palettes that have everything, like everything you could need in a palette. I don't like to have to go into like 4 different palettes to create a basic look. It's got every color you want. It's got neutrals, it's got purples, it's got greens, blues, more like neutral browns. I just absolutely love this palette. I did bring this to the last competition I went to and I was able to create a really nice like dramatic look for the dance floor, but you could also create just an everyday basic look with this palette. So I am going to keep this one. Then I have the Urban Decay Kristen Leanne palette. Okay, you guys, this probably came out 5 years ago, something like that. And I bought it when it came out, and I have never used this. I think maybe I've used it once. They're just not my colors. And again, it's all shimmers apart from 2 mattes. It's not my thing. So I'm definitely gonna pass this on. I'm surprised I held onto it this long. Okay, so then I have some more random type of palettes here. So the first one is, this is the NYX Ultimate Edit Ultimate Utopia. I did a full face of NYX as well. I'll actually link it for you. Ugh. It's really hard. Oh no, my nail polish. Ah! So I did a full face of NYX and I used this, and actually, again, for a drugstore brand, I didn't think this was bad at all, but I will tell you this. Oh, I just remembered, I have another bite-sized palette that I didn't put in here. Okay, never mind. Because this shade is broken, I tend to steer away from using this because it gets all up in the packaging. Every time I open it, I'm scared it's gonna explode. It gets into the other shades. So I completely avoid using it, and it gets all over your hands. So I already know I'm not going to get use out of this just because that's broken. And I know that sounds silly, but I know I'm not gonna reach for it, so I'm gonna pass it on to someone else who will use it. I found another e.l.f. bite-sized palette. I just remembered I had it. Oh, see, same thing I was just talking about with the NYX palette. Because when I bought it, it came broken. It was just broken. So all that glitter is getting all in the mattes and all up in the packaging, and I won't reach for it just for that reason. So I'm gonna pass this on to someone else. This is in Truffles. This is from Pur. I got this in a BoxyCharm as well, the Soiree Diaries. This is a really nice, again, neutral brown, everyday kind of palette that you can transition into night with the deeper browns, really pretty metallics, really creamy metallics. I really like this palette. I did use it for a long time, but I don't reach for it anymore. I can't even remember the last time I reached for it, and I have a million palettes that have these shades in them. So I'm going to pass this on to someone else that might get use out of them. So yeah, I'm gonna declutter this one. This is the Profusion Nude palette. This I got around the holidays. I really, really like this palette for a drugstore brand. It's very good. The mattes are really blendable, very much my tones, the browns, a lighter shade for a transition. The metallics are really, really pretty, really nice, very smooth, very pigmented. Really what I like personally in a metallic, and they have more of these more like satiny type of shades, which are also really pretty. Ooh, that one's really pretty. That brown kind of neutral color, wow. Yeah, that's really nice. This is the only Profusion palette that I have, and I've heard amazing things about Profusion, so maybe I will pick up some of their palettes, but I've already got too many palettes. I don't need to pick up anything else. I don't. Okay, anyway, I'm keeping this one. All right, and then this is the Pur Festival Palette. I also got this in a BoxyCharm, and I did use it for quite a while. Actually, at one point when I was living between several different places, when I was going through a breakup, this is the only palette that I really had with me to do my makeup with. That's why it's so dirty. And it's okay. I don't like pressed glitters, so that's already two shades that I'm not gonna use. And the rest of them were okay. I don't need this palette. I don't use it. I haven't used it in years. So I am going to give this away and declutter it. And then I have two Natasha Denona mini palettes. The Lila palette, the Mini Lila and the Mini Love. I'm gonna keep both of these. I really, really like them both. I like this one because I've really been able to create with just these two shades a very simple, basic, everyday look. Putting this all through my crease, putting this on the lid, you're good to go. And then also you have these deeper colors if you wanna do something purple or something more nighttime. So this is a really good palette to travel with because you've got basic daytime, you've got nighttime, and then of course you can mix and match things. And I think the quality is good. I've heard from a lot of people they don't think the quality of this one is very good, but I actually think it's great. I have no complaints, so I'm gonna keep that. And this is probably one of my newest palettes to my collection, the Mini Love palette. This came out around Valentine's Day time, so a few months ago. And I really love, love, love this palette. It's got exactly what I want. A transition shade, a deeper matte for the outer corner, a lid shade, an inner corner shade, and like a topper type of shade. Just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I love this shade for an inner corner highlight that's more like a pinky champagne. Just beautiful, really bright, but not like a typical just white champagne. It has sort of a pink undertone to it. Really pretty. I'm definitely keeping this one. Sorry if I'm talking fast, I just had a second cup of coffee. I feel like my speech is getting faster and faster and faster.
I forgot you made one for me.
I've got a couple from Dose of Colors. So this is the I Love Sarah E and Dose Colors, Dose of Colors, hello. Their 6-pan palette that she came out with, this was quite a few years ago. I don't really ever use this one. Again, it only has 2 matte shadows, and these 2 colors are not really me. Like, I don't really wear blues. And this is like a blue black. Oh my gosh, it is beautiful though. Look at that. Whoa. It's like a black base with like silver and blue sparkles throughout. I'm not even sure how I would use that, but I do really like it. So I am gonna put this in my summer desk drawer makeup set and see how I feel at the end of the summer if I'm gonna declutter it. So it's kind of like on the chopping block type of situation, but I do love Dose of Colors. I love their formula. So I will keep this for now, and I will kind of reevaluate at the end of the summer and see how I feel. This is probably another one of my most favorite palettes that I own, period, out of all of them. This is the Dose of Colors Desi X Katie Friendcation palette. This palette is just amazing, just absolutely amazing. All of the mattes are just beautiful, like the perfect mattes that you could ever want. They're not like super duper duper pigmented, but they blend so nice, and they actually come out on your eyes richer than they do in the pan, which is really weird. Usually it's the opposite. And all of these metallics are just like absolutely beautiful. This green, this olive green is like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Yep. Amazing. The blues I don't really reach for, once again, like I just don't wear blue eyeshadow. But all these other ones I wear and I love, so I'm definitely gonna keep this one. The next one I have is Ace Beauté Grandiose palette. I also got this from a BoxyCharm. I really like this. I don't really reach for it quite often, but it is a very summery palette. It's got the purples, pinks, and of course our neutrals that we love. By we, I mean I. Pigmentation's beautiful. I am gonna put this in my summer drawer so I can get some use out of it because it is a very summery, especially with this bright pink. Love that. I will put this in my drawer. And this is the Crown Pro palette. It doesn't really have like a name on it. This I also got in a BoxyCharm, and I really, really enjoyed this one too. The warm tones are just really nice, exactly what I like. This color is super pretty. It's like a orangey brown type of shade. I love putting this one, yeah, like a reddish orange, putting this one all over the lid. Super pretty, so I will be keeping this one. Okay, then I have 2 palettes from Juvia's Place. I used to have more, but I did declutter quite a few of them. I do love Juvia's Place formula, and I love their price point. It's very low for the quality. It's unbelievable. And so pretty. Like, I look at this and I think it's beautiful, and I just love, like I said, the quality, but I never ever reach for this one. I just don't. So I am gonna pass this on. This one is the Saharan 2. Yeah, I am gonna pass this on. I just don't use it, and somebody else could use it and really enjoy it. Just, it's really pretty. Like, that color is really pretty bluish mint. Oh my gosh, really beautiful. Really pretty, but I don't reach for it. I haven't used it, and I can't even remember the last time, so I am gonna pass this on to someone else. I'm being very responsible. And then the second one I have is the Nubian. This is one of my oldest eyeshadow palettes as well. It's very well loved, but my tones, blah, 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 you've heard me say it a million times. This one is pretty nostalgic to me. I am gonna keep it. I haven't used it in a while, but I do occasionally dip into it, and it still works for me. So I am gonna keep this for nostalgia, but also I will get some use out of this, I'm sure. Okay, and then I have this giant stack of Colourpop palettes. So we're gonna go through them. This is the Going Coconuts palette. Probably one of the most talked about Colourpop palettes that I've seen online. Really pretty, just basic neutral brown palette. It is nice. I don't love it as much as some people do. I think it's nice, it's okay. Again, when I received this shade called Palm Reader was broken. So I had to like really press it back in. And I think because that is so delicate and tends to explode occasionally, it does really deter me from using this palette because I'm worried it's gonna get all over the place and get into the other shades. So I am gonna put this in my drawer so that I'm forced to use it. And again, maybe at the end of the summer, if I don't reach for it a lot, I will declutter it. So this is kind of on the chopping block / going in my drawer, so I'm forced to use it. And then I have the That's Taupe palette. This is probably one of my newest Colourpop palettes that I've gotten recently. I absolutely love it. And this is one of those palettes that I was just talking about. It is my newest cool tone palette, so I don't feel like I needed to keep that other Pretty Vulgar palette because I have this one now. It's got mostly mattes with a few shimmers and a Super Shock shadow. If you've never used Colourpop Super Shock shadow, they're just like a kind of a bouncier formula, almost like a cream to powder formula. So I'm definitely going to keep this one. And then I have the Hello Kitty palette. Oh, I do love this palette. I love Hello Kitty. If you know me personally, you know that. I have been obsessed with Hello Kitty forever. So I did buy it for like the nostalgia, the Hello Kitty aspect. But I actually really like this palette, and I did have it in my spring drawer because of the pinks and the purples and the pastels. And I did really reach into this quite often, and I really do like it. I like the rows, how they're lined up. You've got like an orangey / brown row, or column rather, you've got a purple column and you've got a pink column. So it really does lay out your looks for you, or you can mix and match. So I really do like this palette, so I'm gonna keep it. I did buy the blushes in this collection, and I was not a fan of the blushes, so I'm probably gonna declutter those blushes, but the palette is really nice. Okay, and this is the You Are a Cutie palette from Colourpop. So this one I bought, this was probably a year or two ago. It's okay. I did, again, put this in my spring drawer that I was using because of the pastels. A lot of the colors in here look cool toned, but they actually pull very, very pink on the eyes, which is really interesting. Like that looks brown, but when you actually apply it, it does have more of like a pinky tint to it. So I feel like with a lot of the shades, that's how it is. So it's not my favorite, so I think I am going to pass this on and declutter it. I do like it, but it's just not, I don't feel like I need it, so I'm gonna pass it on. But then speaking of a pink palette that I love, this is the Sweet Talk palette. This is probably one of my favorite Colourpop palettes. Again, I don't use pressed glitters, which is unfortunate because these two shades, Early Morning and Prima Drama. Okay, Prima Drama and Early Morning. I don't use those, but all the rest of the shades are beautiful. It has a Super Shock shadow in it, which is beautiful. It's like a topper shade, more of like a glittery topper. It doesn't have much of a base to it, but really pretty pinks, browns. Every day you can get a brown look out of it if you want to just use like these three with that one, or pull some pink to it. Really, really pretty palette. I love this one. This is the Fortune palette from Colourpop. Again, a warm tone basic palette. I do really like this one. I love the mattes. You can get deeper colors down here, lighter colors up here. Really pretty, really nice, but I don't use it. Haven't used it in years. Somebody else can use it and enjoy it. So I am going to pass this one on, which is sad. I really do like this one. I remember when I first got it, I used it a lot, but I've got too many of these palettes and I don't need them. So I'm gonna pass this one on. Then I have the Through My Eyes I Love Sarah E X Colourpop palette. This I love, especially for summer. So this is going in my summer drawer. Again, you got your basic neutral warm tone shades, but you've got pops of emerald green, you got pops of purple, you've got a really, really pretty mustardy yellow there. Really pretty. Love this palette. The quality is beautiful. The colors are unique. I love it. I'm gonna keep this one and put it in my drawer. Another one of my newer palettes is the At Forest Sight Raw Beauty Christy X Colourpop. Really beautiful palette. I'm sure you've heard of it, you know, if you're into the makeup YouTube world. All mattes apart from two shimmers, which I love. I much prefer that. Like I've already said a million times. Every color that you can imagine. I love both of these shimmer shades. I think they're really pretty and they pop really nicely, just unique. I'm keeping this one. Okay, this is the Dream Street Kathleen Lights X Colourpop palette. This has been discontinued. This is an oldie, but a goodie. When I first got this, I used it to death. For like a really long time, these two shades were the only shades I was ever using as transition shades. Even if I was using another palette, I would use these two as transition shades. So I really like this palette a lot. I love the shimmers. I love this rose gold. It's super pretty, very unique shade. Really, really, really pretty. Love it. I'm gonna keep this one. This is the Femme Rosa palette. This is old, 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 old. I did use this one to death. It's very pink, very purpley pink, lots of shimmers, really pretty shimmers, really, really nice palette. Even back then, Colourpop had really good formula. And I love the packaging with all the roses on it, really cute. But I am going to pass this on because I have not used it in a really long time. I maybe even should just throw it out because of how dirty it is. I'm going to try to clean it up a little bit. Yeah, I can clean it up a little bit and then pass it on. Next, I have the Chasing Rainbows palette. I actually got this as like a free gift with purchase a long time ago, I really like this palette. I think it's really pretty. It's very unique. It's got the bright colors in it, really pretty. I love this yellowy color. I think it's really, really unique. I don't think I have a shimmer shade that color. So I will hang on to this. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put this in my summer drawer because of how colorful it is. And I will make a decision at the end of the summer if I want to declutter it or keep it. So for now, I'm going to keep it. Next, I have the Boudoir Noir palette from Colourpop. This is also a newer one to my collection. I thought it was okay. I've only used it once in a video and it was actually, look at this color. Is this? No, I already just got the other one. Now this is more gold. The other one was more yellow. It's okay. I wasn't like blown away by it, but I am going to keep it a little longer just to see how I feel about it, just because again, I haven't really used it enough to make a major decision on it. So I will keep this for now. And then I have one of their larger palettes. This is the So Jaded Kathleen Lights X Colourpop palette. This is another one I think I'm going to put in my summer drawer because I've not really got a lot of use out of it as much as I want to. This is a really pretty jewel tone palette. And I think a lot of these colors, again, are pretty unique colors. These more olivey green colors, these cooler tone colors. I'm not going to use the pressed glitters, but I do really like, oh, this shade is really, really pretty. It's like greeny. So I will keep this one and I'm going to put this in my summer drawer. And then this is just a magnetic palette that I put in single shadows that honestly, this row, these two rows down at the bottom and this one, these were all Colourpop shadows from way back in the day for Colourpop. They used to come out with these like 4-pan palettes that were just magnetic shadows. Actually, this was from a collaboration from I Love Sarah E. These way, way back. And then these three are Natasha Denona singles, the metallics up there that are just beautiful. So I'm going to keep these single shadows. Okay, and then I have just one palette from Manny Mua. I love Manny Mua. He's one of my favorite YouTubers and I really like his brand. I love the packaging on this. It has like a raised moon here. I don't know if you can see it, but just beautiful packaging. Really beautiful. The colors here are really pretty. It is strawberry scented, which is really cool. But I did have this in my spring drawer. And honestly, I really only reached for like these lighter transition shades, that darker shade, and maybe one or two of these like purpley type of metallics. I didn't use any of the reds, any of these brighter colors, or these other colors. I don't really wear these colors, and this is so beautiful. I really want someone else to get use out of this. So I can't believe I'm doing this because this was expensive, but I'm gonna pass this on to someone else. Okay, and then I've got two palettes from Alamar Cosmetics. This is the Spanglish palette. This I recently got, not so long ago, but this is a beautiful, more brighter, again, more of a brighter type of color scheme. They really read very bright on the eyes. This is really the only basic color, this brown color, but really, really pretty. I did have this in my spring drawer and I'm actually gonna continue it into my summer drawer because I like to wear these like brighter pinks, purples in the summertime. So I'm gonna keep this one. And this one I got in a BoxyCharm years ago and I really have not used it. I am gonna put this in my summer drawer to give it one last little hoorah and see how I feel at the end of the summer. But it's definitely a very summery type of palette with these warm tones, these bright blues, which again, I don't really use, but maybe I will. And then these brighter metallics, really pretty. I'm gonna give it one last hoorah, see how I feel. Then I have the Ofra x Samantha March Life's a Draft palette. This I recently bought because it recently came out. I absolutely love this. I actually had this in my spring drawer and I was using it constantly. It's really nice, especially because it's got all these eyeshadows, plus a bronzer, a highlight, and a blush. So it's all right there. You don't even have to think. This is gonna be a really good traveling palette for sure. So I'm definitely going to keep this. I really, really love all of the shades here. And this is a really good formula if you are not like super duper seasoned at blending eyeshadows. These eyeshadows are not super pigmented. You have to build them up. You're not gonna like deposit too much color and then feel like you look like you have a black eye. So I do really like this palette a lot, and I will be keeping it. Then I have the Ofra Pro palette. This is a loose magnetic palette that I've switched in and out. Some of the shades that came in here, I think I actually decluttered them because I really didn't like the quality of the shadows. That's a Colourpop single shadow, that's a Colourpop single shadow, and that's a Colourpop single shadow. So I think the ones that did come in here, I just got rid of them because I didn't like them. I didn't like how they blend. They weren't good quality. But it does come with 2 blushes and 3 highlighters and a bronzer, which I think I love. I used to bring this traveling. It has a big mirror, and I would pop some of my single shadows in. So I am going to keep this one for the purpose of traveling. They have amazing highlighters. These highlighters are like, they make your skin look wet. Beautiful highlighters. They're not glittery, very smooth. So I will keep these. We're almost done here. Just a few more. Okay, so I have these 2 Wet n Wild palettes. I have raved about these palettes in the past, and I do really think that they're very good for the price. This is the Not a Basic Peach palette, and this is a Rosé in the Air palette. I think that these mattes are really, really, really blendable, really good. As you can see, I hit pan on one of them. I used to put these in my top drawer in my desk and just reach for them if I needed a transition shade. If the palette I was using didn't have a transition shade, I would just reach for these. And I really enjoyed them, but I think I am going to say goodbye and declutter them. I just don't feel like I need them, and they're taking up space in my collection that someone else could be getting use out of them. So I'm going to declutter both of these. This is the longest video in the world. There's already another 30 minutes, and I'm not done. On top of the 23 minutes. Yeah, it's in 23 minutes, so 50 minutes, almost an hour. Yeah. Oh. Okay, and then I have 2 palettes from Laura Lee Los Angeles. I have the Nudie Patootie palette and the Nudie No. 2 palette. I am going to keep both of these. I think they're probably some of the best shadows. Again, if you're looking for more like beginner-friendly type of shadows, these aren't like super duper powdery pigmented shadows like Anastasia Beverly Hills. Those are not good for beginners because they just deposit so much color at once. But these are just very subtle, blendable colors. This is a really nice neutral brown / pinky tone color scheme. I am going to keep this one. I would definitely suggest this one if you are looking for just like a big neutral palette. And it's very affordable, and she runs a lot of sales, like all the time she's running sales. And then I have the Nudie No. 2, which I bought pretty recently, and this is definitely more like pink, peachy pink, and I really like this one a lot. I think it's beautiful. I had this in my spring drawer and I used it constantly, just super pretty all around. I can't complain. I'm gonna keep this one. Then I have the Physicians Formula Butter Collection X Casey Holmes. Casey Holmes is another YouTuber. This is an interesting type of setup, and they actually have this at Marshall's. I saw this at Marshall's, at the Marshall's near me now, on super clearance. So the one thing I don't like about this is it's super bulky. Like, it's very hard to store. I would never ever travel with this because it's way too big. But I do like the eyeshadows in here. I really like the bronzer. The Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer is amazing, but this is the deep version. So I feel like when I'm very tan, this works really well for me. I don't really like the highlight and the blush. I think the highlight is super glittery, but I do like wearing this on the eyes as just like, yeah, it's actually a cream. Wow, it's very creamy. I don't know if that's just because it's been sitting here, but it's very pretty on the eyes. On the face, I think it's a little too glittery for my personal taste. And this blush is a little too shimmery for my taste. I don't love a shimmery blush, but again, on the eyes, that would be really pretty. It comes also with a butter lip cream, which is actually really nice. It's like a balmy like a tinted balm type of thing, which is, it's pretty. And then this is the spray of the scent of the butter bronzer, which I don't think I've ever actually used that. I think it's been sitting there since I bought it because it's just a little too intense for me. But all of that to say, I think I'm gonna try to do, I don't know if I can take out the pans, but I might just take this out and take out the eyeshadows and just declutter the rest. If I can't take these out, I'm sure I can. It looks like I can. If I can't, I will just keep this a little longer and just get some use out of these products. But if you are looking for something like this, they do have it at Marshall's for a very discounted price now. Okay, we're down to the last stack, finally, yay! So the last stack I have is BH Cosmetics. Love BH Cosmetics. Probably one of the most underrated brands for eyeshadow palettes. Their formula is amazing and it's very affordable. So I've got 4 palettes from them. In my top 4 favorite eyeshadow palettes that I own, this is the Naughty palette. I got this around holiday and you guys, this is insanity. I'm not kidding. I thought it was like magic. I put some on my eye and I literally just went toot, 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 like 3 little blend circles and it was blended. I thought I was like something, I was delusional or something, but I did a second look and the same thing. These blend themselves. They do. And there's every color that you could ever want in your life and just beautiful. Just beautiful. I'm absolutely never ever getting rid of this. And unfortunately it was limited edition. But check out BH Cosmetics because they've got several different palettes that are really wonderful and I'm definitely keeping this one. Then I've got the Desert Oasis palette. This is a really pretty palette. It's mostly shimmers. There's only 5 mattes. The rest are all shimmers. These are supposed to be highlighters, but you can use them as highlighters. You can use them as eyeshadows, whatever you want. Beautiful. This is like summer right here to me. Just these like bronzy, beautiful, beachy colors. Perfect, wonderful, keeping it. And then these 2 are very old. I've had them for a very long time. This is the Aurora Lights. It's all metallics, like baked metallics, but super pretty, super colorful shadows. Whatever color you want. Ooh, that one's really pretty. You can get it here. Very, 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 very pretty baked metallics. But I haven't reached for this in years. Someone else can use it and enjoy it. So I'm passing this one on. And then the last palette, this is again one of my oldest palettes that I own. This is the BH Cosmetics It's My Ray Ray palette. Great shadows, lots of matte colors that you could ever want, metallics, and then they have, quote, bronzers and highlighters, but you can use these for whatever purpose you want. Eyeshadows, whatever. Really beautiful, but again, I never reach for this ever, and someone else could use it and enjoy it. So this one is going in the declutter pile. Okay, so this is the final declutter situation. I'm decluttering 21 and actually had 67 because I found that random little other e.l.f. eyeshadow palette. So 61 minus 27 is 46, right? 67 minus 21 is 46, correct. So I'm keeping 46 palettes. I'm decluttering 21. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. I have a lot of things, like I said, that are kind of on the quote chopping block that I'm gonna put in my drawer, see how much use I get out of them, and then I could potentially declutter a whole bunch more based on those findings. But I would say pretty good for this declutter. I'm happy with that. So I hope that those 21 palettes find a good home, and whew, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. This was a doozy of a journey. The next thing you're gonna see will be my lip products because I have a lot of lip products, like a lot, you guys, and things that just like lip products or things that are liquid, like lip glosses, liquid lipsticks, they go bad. So if I open up a liquid lipstick and I sniff it and it smells bad, I have to throw it out. I can't be having it sit here any longer. Oh. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.